Yeah, before I start talking about the game, I just want to address the situation at the under 8 media timeout, the scuffle that happened next to our bench. It's like, so I've known Coach Gates for a long time. I was a high school coach. He was one of the best recruiters in the country. I have all the respect in the world for the job he's done as an assistant, a head coach. Before he got to Missouri as a head coach here, he had one of the best first years in the SEC since I've been here in a long time. So there's no disrespect to him or his program, and I apologize to both Coach Gates and Aiden Shaw. And Aiden seems like a great kid, and it's an unfortunate situation, but I apologize to both of them. So I wanted to address that before we got going. Second thing I want to say is I thought for the weather out there tonight, I thought our home crowd was unbelievable. So I want to thank the students publicly. I think we had almost 3,000 students in there. We needed them. They got loud when we needed it. For a time when everybody could have had an excuse to stay in with the weather, they chose to come out and support us. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our players. It means a lot to the program. So I want to make sure I thank them. But get into the actual game. Missouri gave us everything everything we could handle. I thought the way they closed the first half, was great on their part, and it wasn't very good on our part. We had too many turnovers. We didn't guard. We've had issues with our starts to games. I didn't think our start was great tonight. I don't think we got stopped to the last possession of the first 4 minutes before the under 16 media timeout. Then to close the half, they went on a big run. I think it was 12-3, if I remember right, in the last 4 minutes. So, start of the second half, we were a little better. But I did think the one issue that we've had major problems with this year, how we play at the under 12 and under 8 of the second half, we were significantly better. So we've had issues. We've had leads in 4 of our 5 losses, leads of 6 points or more in the second half. So I thought we did a good job closing this thing. And you kind of look at some of the guys that were on the floor. Rylan obviously went on that 3-point barrage, which was huge. But I thought, he's been one of our best defenders all year. Aaron's been one of our best defenders. Trelly been one of our best perimeter defenders. And then, Grant. And then Nick was playing well tonight. He might not have showed up necessarily with, he ended up with 10 points and 3 rebounds. So statistically, it didn't look like great, but he played a lot of minutes, stayed out of foul trouble. For him to play 27 minutes and only have 1 foul, I thought was great, and he impacted shots at the rim and did a good job for us. So, that group that closed the game did a really good job. Mark tweaked his ankle in the first half, fought through it, made some buckets for us early in the second half, and then, with us, tried to get him a little rest there at the under 8 in the second half, and then we kind of went on a run, and we just kept him out, try to rest his ankle and make sure he's ready to go Saturday at Tennessee. So, questions?
Yeah, you talked about that moment in the first half, but overall, this game was chippy, and there's a lot of edge in the entire game. What was behind that, and what can your team take away from a game like this? You know what?
I think it's a program with a lot of pride. They were good last year. They came in 0-3. They're probably better than 0-3. They're fighting, scrapping, clawing. Those players didn't go there, to start 0-4. Coach Gates is used to winning. I'm sure there was an edge about them where they needed to win. But we're trying to win the league, and we need to win. You can't win the league if you don't protect your home court. So I think combination of us understanding we got to protect our home court, it's a must-win game for us if we're going to try to win this league. And they have a lot of pride over there, and they weren't trying to start 0-4. Other than that, there's nothing between the programs. Like I actually really respect Dennis and think he does a great job, and I don't think any of our players had any past history with any of our guys. I just think it's 2 teams playing hard, understanding it's a big win either way.
Rylan gets 16 there in the second half. What was it that got him going after halftime?
It's a good question. I don't know. We kind of rested him there at the beginning, and he came off the bench after we rested him. I kind of went over to him on the bench like, man, we're going to need you to win this game. You got to get locked in. He's always good. He kind of, he had a defensive mistake early in the half, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. He wanted to look at we get the iPads at the timeout. He gave up a 3. I think he sat down and got his mind right. He's a kid that sometimes just needs to be left alone for a minute, got his mind right, and he came in and was ready to go. That shooting barrage is probably the best shooting barrage I've seen out of anybody on our team this year. I know Sears has had a few. Strada in game 1 was really good in the first half, but that was as good as I've seen in a while around here.
You guys really fired up against South Carolina for the comments they made, and then this game seems like you guys were fired up. Are you playing with does your team have an extra chip on its shoulder this season? Do you notice that?
That's a good question. I think the 5 losses kind of got us. Nobody's really paying attention to us, which is great. They shouldn't be. I mean, we don't have enough quality wins for anybody nationally to pay attention to us. But I think after being number 1 in the country last year, we got 9 new players. I think a lot of these guys came in with the expectation we're going to be a top 5, top 10 team, and we're not, and we don't deserve to be. Like we got to rattle off a bunch of wins before anybody gives us any kind of respect. So I think they're fighting for some respect nationally, but there's nothing really, and even South Carolina. I mean, Coach Paris, great guy. Like I've known him for a long time. There's zero animosity, anything. I think guys playing hard. And the South Carolina guys, I know they felt a little disrespected by their pick in the league, and I would too if I was them. They got really good players, and they're going to finish better than 14th, in my opinion. So I just think it's 2 teams, both games, guys are really going after. We got to do a better job. Not, Grant's technical. I mean, that's not even Grant. If you know Grant, he's not trash talker. He's one of the nicest kids you ever meet in your life. So I think the game just get raised, and I'm not opposed to the intensity level getting raised. I think it's great. We just got to, from the head coach down, we got to maintain our composure when the intensity gets raised.
It ended up being the only 3 he took, but how big was it for Grant to hit that 3 at the beginning of his game to kind of get his confidence going again in SEC play?
Yeah, I think it was good. The ball moved well. His feet were set. He took it. It was all net. He shot 4 or 6 from the field, 4 or 4 at the free throw line. I mean, he was a kid that was shooting almost 95% at the free throw line and kind of went through a little struggle there at the line. So maybe that 3 helped him get his confidence. He spends a lot of time in the gym, a lot. So you expect him to play well, but, we've been on him to be better at some of the other stuff where he can impact the game. Rebound, he led the team in rebounds. Him and Aaron both had 8. He had 2 rebounds away from a double-double. I think he's starting to do more of that, attack the rim. He attacks the rim, gets the free throw line. He doesn't miss many at the free throw line. So I was happy to see it drop, and it might have got his confidence going a little bit, but I think you're going to see him attacking the rim a lot more and not shooting as many threes as maybe what he had in the past.
Coach Estrada was 4 assists, 2 turnovers tonight. When he's handling the ball well and seeing the floor well like he did tonight, like he did against Vanderbilt, how much of a difference does that make for this team?
Big difference. Like, we need him playing like that. I mean, he's capable of being one of the best guards in our league. I mean, I think he's a guy that's going to push triple-double fairly frequently. I mean, he was on pace. Almost he was 1 assist away from being on pace at the half. I know he had, 7, 6, and 4 at the half. So, he didn't end up with any assists in the second half. But, you look at him, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. Sears had a good night, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, both 2-1. Ryland, 3 assists, 1 turnover. You kind of look at our guards and how they were moving it. They did a better job. Grant was 3 assists, 1 turnover. So kind of our main handlers, we're positive assist turnover ratio. We need that more often. We still had way too many turnovers with 13, but it was a little better there in the second half, particularly when we went on our run. When you went on our run.
What does it say about this team to be able to close out the game and even extend the lead with Mark Sears on the bench, who has kind of been your closer towards the end of the game?
Yeah, I think it shows people we got a lot of depth. I mean, we've got one of the deepest backcourts in the country. When you got a guy like Trelly coming off the bench who could start just about anywhere and plays his role great and, dives into his role, you're able to put him out there for any of those 3 starting guards and not really lose much. So I think Estrada stepped up. We needed him to be great late in the game. I think he needed to get his confidence going, playing great in a late game situation. I thought he was. And shoot, Ryland, I mean, we had 3 really good guards in there. Now, hopefully Mark can get his ankle right because he is the leading scorer in the league, and we'd love to have him at Tennessee because we need everything we can get to win up that place. It's not an easy place to play.
Can you talk about the impact of Mark Shear's three-pointer in the second half that kind of sparked that quick scoring run?
No, we needed it. We needed a spark. You know, he's a guy that's made big shots for us all year. For him to suck it up and play with the sprained ankle and try to tough it out, I thought showed a lot. And, you know, I think that one came from, did Grant have it in the post and kick it out, if I remember right? That was big. We needed the ball to be moving. We needed guys to start making some shots. I think he starts doing that. He gives some confidence to our team. So that was a big shot to help us kind of start to go on a run to open that game up a little bit.
We saw you guys finish with a 35-23 rebound advantage. Was that a focus going into this one, and how did that impact the game?
It was. We thought we could, you know, out-rebound them on the offensive glass. We weren't great early. You know, Estrada had 4 of our 6-0 boards in the first half. We needed some other guys, you know, get in there with them. You know, second half was a lot better. You know, we had 5-0 boards in the second half, and Aaron didn't have any of them. So, you know, guys like Grant, Nick, you know, Ryland got in there, got some. So I think we can be a great rebounding team if we put our mind to it. But we got to have everybody rebound it, both sides. So, yeah, that was definitely a point of emphasis going into this game, like it'll be at Tennessee. I mean, if you can't rebound against Tennessee, you're not going to be able to beat them. So we needed some. Mississippi State, super tough team. I thought we did a pretty good job on the glass there. So we've had some games here in conference where we've done a decent job rebounding the ball. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.